Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Non-Expert Opinions, also known as Neo. So how have you guys been? It's been another week.
It's been another
Another
week.
week, another dollar.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know.
Wait, what was the catchphrase that we were?
Oh, another week, another Neo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another week, another non-expert opinion. So
I've been okay.
yeah.
How are you guys doing?
Just honestly, it's been pretty quiet lately. You know. Just
It's a quiet week for the experts.
yeah, a very quiet week. But you know where it hasn't been quiet.
Damn, that was dark.
I was like, how are you gonna introduce it?
Like these gears are
Like,
moving.
sure, we're having a good week, but the topic is not gonna be
Yeah. Okay, we're
On a more serious note,
Yeah.
we have a very serious topic to talk about today.
mhm,
That is the topic being residential schools
yeah.
and the whole, media exposure it's gotten lately.
As you might know, we're Canadians.
And we love maple syrup. And-
Yeah.
But that's not all we love. There are
Yeah,
other things we love more than maple syrup.
like people.
Yeah.
But not residential schools.
Yeah, we don't like
No,
residential
those are bad.
schools.
No, those are
No,
bad.
those are terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the reason we want to talk about it is because I feel like as Canadians we're kind of obliged to bring it up,
I think
right?
yeah. As very influential beings,
Mhm.
I think we gotta, put our 2 cents.
To our still
Yeah.
24 subscribers.
Yeah. I think it's 23 now.
Really?
Dave got shot.
Oh my god. Rest in peace, Dave. But yeah.
Not our Dave, but this is another Dave. I'm sorry, Dave.
But yeah. Anyway, we feel obliged to talk about it because we do live in this country, and honestly, we've all been taught like our Canadian history.
Yeah.
But it really did go into like a very basic way of teaching things,
Yeah.
trying to hide some.
I think the way they taught it was more so like dates, and they didn't really teach us about the atrocities that the
Yeah.
government and,
Mhm.
RCMP and everything did. It was more
Not
so
just the RCMP. This goes.
this goes deeper
Way
than that.
back.
Exactly. That's all they taught us, right? They were
Yeah.
It was just the government, doing some dirty stuff.
No, but in like high school and shit, we didn't learn about this.
I did.
In high school?
Yeah.
I remember.
No, sorry, not high school. It was like it was middle school I learned.
Jesus.
About
Yeah.
residential schools.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
But
learn
did
that.
they ever
Dude,
talk
history
about?
class?
They taught us about
Created history class, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Mr. I don't want to name drop him, but
Yeah.
he
Jeez,
taught
I
us.
didn't even know.
See, so here's the thing. I was never taught. I was taught about the existence of residential schools, but literally it was like they taught it in a way which it was whitewashed.
Yeah,
They didn't
Oh,
go down
like,
to
it
the
was like-
dinosaur.
yeah.
People were sent to these schools in order to learn how to live like the
Yeah.
Western. I mean, I guess the European
Yeah.
individual, right? And that's all that was ever taught to us. Even in high school. In high school, I think was the first time that like when they brought up residential schools, they were a bit more true to what actually
Yeah,
happened.
what actually happened.
Yeah, they'd say that it was abusive, but they never go into details into it,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if it's because they didn't want to go into detail, they
Or-
weren't
yeah.
allowed, or if the teachers maybe thought that it was too graphic for us.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
But we weren't taught.
I watched like Neanderthals have sex, so in history class.
What?
Yeah,
Which history
my-
class are you
high
in?
school?
No, Mr. Well, I don't want to name drop his, but Harry.
I think he saw the movie. I think I saw that movie.
Yeah, he showed it to us, and it was just like a Neanderthal man fucking a Neanderthal.
Hold up. Wasn't this was the one about the Homo
Yeah,
sapien
Homo
girl
sapien girl,
living with the Neanderthal
Neanderthal.
family?
It was
Yeah,
trippy.
it was.
Anyhow,
But yeah,
I don't even know what
we
to
weren't
say.
taught enough about
Yeah.
some things, right?
because I think the curriculum kind of didn't want to cover the whole, deeper aspects because maybe they didn't have enough info, or maybe they just didn't want to teach us. Who knows? But
They
now
just want to cover it up. They don't want to like forget the past type shit.
I personally believe,
it was that covered
yeah,
up.
history in the West is whitewashed.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, history.
All right,
is
has
worked
been
by-
whitewashed for a long time.
Yeah, the thing is, like, history is always worked by winners, right?
Yeah.
If you lose a fucking battle, you're not. Excuse the language. You're not writing history.
Mhm.
That's the thing. These guys murdered people. Why don't they write about it?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so let's talk about what we, I guess, initially know right now, right? So recently, there's been a lot of bodies that have been found.
And they'll probably continue
Yeah.
to find more.
Yeah, probably. And all of these bodies are found in like areas where residential schools either used to be or are, right? And these bodies were of children of Native American origin who were most likely either abused to death or they suicided. I don't think any of these people died from natural causes. To be plainly
Maybe
honest.
like malnutrition or some shit, but
Yeah.
even then, that's like,
That's abuse,
That's
at
abuse,
the end of the
yeah.
day. But yeah, like because of all these bodies that have been found recently, there has been like a surge in people calling out the Canadian government to be like, acknowledge these people, acknowledge the deaths, and what's your plan now? What are you gonna do now that you're aware of the atrocity that our country has committed in our history? Honestly, like, this is a super messed up situation.
Yeah, because like my take on it is the fact that, like, for example, Trudeau, right?
Yeah.
He can't really do much other than apologize and maybe fund the right causes, right?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't there doing all this stuff. Maybe his dad was involved, who knows? But even then, it's just like.
When was his dad in power? Was he around during
true. I think it was 90s,
I think
right?
it was like 80s or something.
Yeah, 80s to 90s, something like that.
I feel
Oh,
like
so he was around
Yeah.
during when some residential schools were still open. Okay.
Which is crazy if you think about it, because as Adji said, the last one closed in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
That's like literally
a year before.
a year before.
A year before all three of
all
us were
those
born.
existed. We could have been.
We
Born.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have experienced it because if it was closed, then
Yeah.
we had to like grow up.
That's a
be
scary
like,
thought, though, right?
I mean, but here's the thing, though. Like, just because they closed it, the Native American people, their life wasn't changed in any
It's
way.
just like it's just sure we're gonna stop doing
Yeah.
this, but you're all still kind of messed up,
Yeah, they
in this
essentially just
situation.
put them all into a corner
Yeah.
and said, "Make your earnings off casinos." Like, come on, you like when you do something like that. Like, this isn't the first time that governments have done this. Gentrified neighborhoods have always been
Yeah.
getting screwed over by the government. I'm not trying to get too what is it called, controversial.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to enact a controversy here, but there's pretty good evidence that gentrified neighborhoods end up getting coerced by the government to a point where they dismantle themselves over time, whether it be through drugs or other illegal activities that are kind of force fed into these areas, right?
Yeah.
It's a way of internally demolishing an entire society, kind of,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, this stuff isn't new.
It's just now there's more, social media
Yeah,
presence and just media presence in general, so more people are aware of it. But
I mean, it goes to show that they don't really teach you all of this in school. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't know about it until
Yeah.
now.
it's crazy.
that's the thing. Like,
It's sad.
when I went on Twitter, right, when this stuff was at its peak, right, when you go into the comment section, there were a hell of a lot of adults, like people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, being like, how were we never aware of this? How could you, how did we spend years not being aware that this stuff was happening, right? And yeah, it's literally that you were just never told about it. People like a squeaky clean history, kind of. Right? They like it when the heroes are heroes and the villains are villains, right? Sorry about that sneeze. It was a
Jizz
ghost.
alien.
The ghost jizz alien. They just recently had a baby together.
Jeez.
Yeah, but yeah, Aji, what do you have to say about all of this? Like, when you first heard about it, what was your initial thought?
When I first heard about it, it was in school, like in university, college, and they're telling about the story where like the kids were all in like one house or like one school, and most of the times they try to escape the schools, but they couldn't because most of the people are on their asses and shit like that, like 24/7. It's probably like barbed wire or some shit, so they can't really
Yeah.
escape.
They had cops and stuff.
And they would have like the elder kids would like apparently line up close to the door because sometimes at night they snatch the kids and then they do some shit, right? So like the elder kids always go closer to the door so the little kids don't get affected. So it's like these guys were actually humans. Like you can see like they're trying to survive. But one story that they told was like one boy actually escaped and he was unprepared. It was like in BC or Alberta during the winter time. He ran away. He was running across like a riverside. He was trying to get back home, but he didn't know where home was, and he died on the way because it was really cold. And like the brother like apparently found out later on, and it was like really fun. Like that story just seemed really sad. Like fuck.
Yeah.
But that's just one story out of like everything that
One out of a
happened.
million
Yeah.
stories. It's terrifying.
For like every one story that's told to the world, there's like probably 100
Yeah.
that will just never get the chance to
Yeah.
because they're dead. It's
It's crazy.
that's kind of a messed up thing to think about, and for me personally, I don't get why even like what compels a society or a group of people to decide that maybe like let us completely destroy this one group of people because we
Honestly-
believe that our ideologies are more realistic or I don't know than theirs. Like the point of a residential school when we were when I was originally taught, it was like to what were the exact words to
It's gonna lead a new lifestyle, like a
Educate
different
kind
lifestyle.
of is what.
yeah, but there was another thing that like literally like a person during that time it was like to civilize the uncivilized or something, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. So the purpose of a residential school ultimately wasn't to incite new culture,
It was just to destroy culture.
Yeah, it was to destroy one culture and
Throw
force
another. Yeah.
one onto another, and regardless of the abuse you face, I mean the abuse that you face in these types of schools, the people in power are always going to be right,
Yeah.
That's just mind-blowing to me that you can think of a human as subpar, or subhuman, really,
Yeah.
all because someone has a different ideology than you.
Where they look different, they act different, they
Yeah.
talk different, and they're like, no, we can't have that.
It's just like malicious intent, right?
Yeah.
Because they see these people who are different. They think their culture is, old, like outdated,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So they're like, hey, we have like cool technology and shit. So let's introduce it. But they could have just done that, right? They could have really been like, hey, here's whatever. Here's some technology. You guys do whatever you want with it. But instead, what they did was like, here's a cool little house. We're gonna put all your kids in and murder them. It's fucked. Stuff like that.
I don't
Like,
like honestly.
rethink.
I don't even think, now that I think about it, I don't think any like priest or whoever the fuck was in control of these schools, I don't think they ever even were thinking about trying to change these people. I think their overall idea was
Just the power.
let them
Oh, yeah.
fucking die.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Because, dude, like, the amount of, like, people, it's so fucked up because it's so consistent. Because, every time you hear one of these stories, it's either there's abuse or sexual assault involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's disgusting. Like, I was reading this one thing about this man, he's like 60 now, right? I forgot his name, but yeah, he was just like how when he was a kid, he lived with his grandparents. It was just him and his brother, and like, they would be like, the happiest times he can remember was like, they would do their traditional dances and like, they learn that. He was like, that was the best time of his life because he'd be with family, right? And then one day RCMP came and they were like, they told their grandparents, and her mom was there too, and they were just like, we're gonna take your kids. And then, you know, they were all like sad and shit, but eventually they came and they took the kids. And then little brother was like, he didn't know English. So he would talk to his older brother in their native tongue. And then the nun or priest or whoever was there, they didn't like that, so they beat the kid, right? And eventually he learned English. And then like this guy, his little brother basically like suicided because he just couldn't handle it. And then this guy is still like traumatized, so he can't stay in hotels because every time he hears people like walking down the halls, he just associates that with like the nun. This guy would apparently come, he would sexually assault the kid, and he would like make the kid repent for himself. He'd just be like, oh, like repent to the Lord that you made me do this. Stuff like that. It's fucked. And then like this guy struggled with alcoholism, you know, after residential schools were, you know, they put a ban on it. He struggled with alcoholism, he tried to kill himself, you know, stuff like that. And this is just one story.
Yeah, and I heard most of them were like alcoholics by the time it was done.
Yeah.
They couldn't handle it.
Because they just couldn't. It's fucked up. Like literally you don't have a life and your life is just trauma. Imagine like trying to re-associate to society with that.
Oh yeah, they weren't able to like go back into
they couldn't because they didn't know
because
anything.
they didn't know anything.
Yeah, like what the hell? The world's changed, right?
Yeah.
All their world is like a little fucking house
Yeah.
for like 20 years, and they come out and they're just like, okay, like we're not gonna torture you anymore, but good luck, you know, relocating to society.
It's
Stuff
just
like that.
weird because like before even like the residential schools started,
Mhm.
like the white people have been trying like to like assimilate other people into their ideology instead.
Yeah.
Like the first Native Americans that like came across Europeans, you know,
I mean, it was like British influence, right?
was Columbus was in British.
No, I'm talking about like when residential schools were
residential
British
school
influence, right?
was mostly a British thing, but like
And
that wasn't the first time that the Britain
the Virgin, the
That-
Britannians.
yeah, the British people tried to assimilate like Native Americans. There was a time in the earlier times after they just like met where this one guy, I forgot his name, like I always do.
Probably John or something.
Yeah, but he took like two Native American kids from their parents, brought them back to Britain with them, right?
I'm assuming without consent.
I don't remember,
Okay.
but I'm assuming with that.
Probably just kidnapped them.
Yeah. So he took these two kids, he pretty much taught them how to be perfect, like British, you know, individuals wearing the fancy stuff with perfect haircuts and everything, all that shit, right? And then after like 3 years, right, they finally go back, right? And he expects these kids to act like the British people now, right? But the second they set foot back in Canada, they took off all that fucking clothes, threw it off, and they just ran back to their parents again. Like, you can't remove someone's culture like that, right? It has to, honestly, if you ever want to try to do that, it has to be out of their volition.
Yeah.
You cannot force that shit out of someone. What's this?
I don't know, it's just you edited, but
But yeah, it's just like you can't try to remove something like culture. It's incredibly hard thing to do, and people will always fight for what they personally believe in.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, like this isn't the first time that they've tried to do this. I can't imagine this British dude, you know, he sees this happen. Then a few years later, some dude's just like, I'm gonna make an entire school and make this happen
That's
5,000 times over. And
like they
hope it
never
works.
gave up trying to change these people, right?
I mean,
They're
it's been
just
going on for so long, right? The last one was 1996.
Yeah.
It's so mind-boggling because imagine the amount of resources and like just time and energy you have to put to just change the whole culture, or you can just not fucking do that and focus on yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead they just chose to, you know, destroy a whole
There's
race of
like
people.
their valid reason is ultimately we want this land. And
Yeah.
as long as you're on this land and your culture is powerful
You can't
enough to
have it.
fight back,
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to take it over. So let's terra nullius the fuck out of this place and
Yes.
pretend these guys aren't human and take it all for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
That-
messed up. Like, one of the other reasons I'm seeing a lot of backlash on social media and just articles I've read is the Catholic Church not actually owning up to it. Because the Trudeau government and I think Stephen Harper's government did make a formal apology, and they have at least attempted to do some kind of funding for like mental health and stuff like that. I can't really name anything, but I know they have. And then the Catholic Church, they just straight up refused to, like, you know, and like I think recently,
I mean, the Catholic
One of
Church
the-
is a Catholic Church.
yeah,
They
but
don't know
one
what
of
is
the
such
they apparently released some records from a residential school. But the thing is, like, what are the odds that that's valid information on their records, right? It's probably
That's some
edited
bullshit.
some way, shape, or form. And it's just, I find it so disgusting that they were one of the biggest perpetrators of this and they just refuse to
Yeah.
apologize. It's fucked. All they have to do is just be like, listen, we messed up. You know, it was in the past. We messed up. Here's what we can do for you.
I think the reason
We just
why
can't go.
they can't do that
Why?
is because that's not the only thing that they're
They've done-
guilty of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nearly 500 plus, I think, years worth of Catholic history where all they did was just kind of
Torment people.
bash down ideologies, right? This is a heck, man. Galileo was put under house arrest for the rest of his life for saying that the Earth goes around the sun. You know?
That's crazy. Like, and the fact that a religion like that still exists.
Yeah, and it's still one of the largest
Yeah.
religions
It's
in the
scary
world.
as fuck. I don't
Here's
know
the
what- I don't
thing:
know what to think about that.
most like Catholic people have learned.
Yeah, they have. Most people are pretty civil and, you know, they're
Yeah.
not animals.
They
But-
understand that the people who they believe were God fearing back in the day
Yeah.
did not actually fear God in any way whatsoever. Because if they did, they would have never done shit like this.
Yeah, you're-
Ever.
It's so counteractive to what they were actually preaching.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, you know, like, God is looking after you and God is everywhere and he sees everything. I'm gonna go kill a bunch of people.
And
I feel like those guys were most of them were like the extremists of the
Yeah, they were like power hungry men
yeah,
and
they,
just
they just want to push the ideology.
Yeah.
They think that's the only thing that exists, and
Yeah.
that's all they know.
stuff like
while
which-
breaking that ideology by
pretty much.
fucking raping people and abusing
You know,
them.
Yeah, but they probably think that it's for the better cause or some shit, and then
Yeah.
they satisfy themselves. By
No,
just
you know
saying
what it is?
I don't know how you can justify.
I mean, like you just say like, or then they repent or some shit, and then
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I think it was more so like a mixture of wanting to spread their religion and a power thing. Because think about stuff like, you know, witch hunting back in the day. Like, they would just randomly accuse people. Because it was fear mongering, right? They would breed fear amongst each other, like the people in the towns and countries and whatnot, cities. Because hey, the moment you say something bad against religion, they're just gonna accuse you, and then you get burnt on a fucking stake.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Fear mongering plus, it's the easiest way to spread your religion.
And
You
the,
know?
and it's also like you said, it's a way of maintaining power in a specific demographic, right?
Because they're all shit scared of you. They're not gonna fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of the women who were killed during the Salem witch trials
Yeah.
were just women who were overtly independent.
Yeah.
That was literally it.
Karen just made a fucking chicken pie by herself.
And
then she got,
and the husband was like, "This chicken pie too good.
he's like,
She gotta get burnt in the stake."
some kind
like-
of sorcery is happening.
Yeah, but like, yeah, the history is riddled with those people who kind of want to just destroy everything,
Yeah.
except for the things that they are close to.
But I think it's good that all this media attention is finally like showcasing the
Mhm.
true nature of how bad this was, because there was like innocent lives, kids who didn't even have a future.
Yeah,
They had nothing. They literally had nothing, and they were still killed. You know,
yeah,
it was just sickening. But like, you know, the Canadian government has at least acknowledged that they screwed up big time.
I
There's a lot they
respect.
can do.
I respect that they acknowledged
Yeah.
it, but there's still a hell of a lot of like Native American people
Who were in the shitter.
who are just in the worst positions ever. There are
Sad.
places like the conservation camp.
Yeah.
They're conservation camps. They call it communities. They're
Yeah.
not. no running water, no plumbing. They're in frigid cold, no heating, no insulation.
No electricity.
Also,
Like nothing at all.
yeah.
And they pretty much have to survive on bare bones. And the businesses that always end up being put in these places are things like I said earlier,
It's
casinos.
like gambling addiction.
Yeah.
Literally.
Alcohol,
Yeah.
like bars and shit. Yeah, like
And
all
like,
types of.
You can say that's just the government, you know. It may be like convenience, but no, that's literally like strategically screwing up a race of people. It's
Yeah.
fucked. And
And
to add on top of that, literally an Aboriginal woman just go missing every fucking day. Just
the Trail of
randomly gone.
Tears.
Yeah.
It's literally. It's called the Trail of Tears because Native Americans just disappear there. Like,
and then they find bodies of females just dead, raped, mauled. It's crazy.
I would say Native American women are one of like the most marginalized groups right now of people, because most of them, it's super tough for them to be able to make a living, so they have to end up going into things like prostitution, right? And
Sad.
you could at least try to make these, like, if you're going into prostitution, the best thing the government can do is at least make sex work safe.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even do that, right?
Yeah.
So every to be a Native American person is it is a struggle. It's a literal struggle. And it's just messed up that even after all of these things, there's genuinely not much being done. You can't bank everything on an apology at the end of the day.
It's so true.
Right?
Like, the government has to step up and do the right thing, which is, give these people fair opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Schooling, housing, everything. Because they're not getting it. It's fucked. And recently, I think the Governor General who got elected? Native lady.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw this controversial post where people were, like, apparently upset that she didn't know French. And it's so ironic because she speaks one of the oldest languages that Canada's had. It's a native language. And I'm just like, do you see the hypocrisy behind that? It's fucked, right? It's just another way of, like, this woman who was, who's been struggling for the right cause has some power now. And people are just like, hey, she doesn't know French.
Yo, straight up, French is a stupid language. Look, okay? I'm gonna go on a tangent real quick. Alright? I've been getting YouTube advertisements lately, and it's always French now for some reason. And it's always like, and I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to here? Someone having a seizure? Language.
Yeah, but I think overall, like, do you have anything to add for just overall, what do you think the government should do?
I mean, like, they're not going to really do much because the last one was in 96. They first recognized it in 2008.
Really?
And then now it comes back in, like, 2021.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2008, and then...
So, like, a decade has to pass before something really happens.
So I guess next decade we can expect something.
Yeah.
That's also another thing, right? The people in power, I'm 100% sure they're aware of all
yeah.
this.
They know.
Right?
Of course they know.
They know.
Their lack of acknowledgement is...
Yeah.
It's not accidental.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's purposeful. So yeah, Trudeau, you can do a lot better.
You can do a lot more, man.
You can do so much better. Okay? Just don't get into fights with the CCP on Twitter or whatever. Okay? Don't be like, oh, at least I said sorry about the... Okay? We still kind of have concentration camps if you really think about it. Right?
It's just, glorified.
Yeah.
And
there are casinos next to it.
Yeah.
That's a booming business right there. No, it's fucking not.
As Rick Sanchez said, it's a glorified chicken coop.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah. But, did you, have you seen the backlash of, ever since this came out, Canada low-key for a second became a punching bag. For other countries,
yeah,
right?
every country, even the fucking Americans, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Trudeau, we cannot be made fun by the Americans. Okay,
straight up, there were so many American people who were like, oh, how could... I thought Canada was such a beautiful and loving place. So nice and so perfect. How could these Canadians do such a thing?
There's still gonna be some people that don't even believe it. They're gonna be like, oh, they're just making this up now.
Yeah.
Like, most people don't know about these things. So, and most of the times when you go into Canada, you're thinking it's the best place to go to. Like, there's no problems.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they
history,
advertise,
yes,
right?
yeah.
Because they want more tourism and immigrants and shit to come in.
Dude,
Nothing wrong with that. It's just
Canada
Yeah,
has
so-
been like stapled as like this multicultural sanctuary.
but you come here.
It
it's-
ain't.
It ain't that.
It
Well,
ain't, bro.
to be
It is
honest,
to an extent. It is.
ironically,
It's like it's America's little brother.
it was a nice place. You know, like maybe
100 and
yeah.
1,500
When there were
years
no
ago.
Europeans here, it was nice.
Yeah.
And then
That's another crazy thing, right? A lot like the European people when they first came, I don't know what mindset they were in to be like these guys are all brutes because they literally had a government system. They had huge ass cities, like entire like cities that spanned miles, right?
talking
These-
about Aboriginal.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like they were just as civilized. The only difference was that their god wasn't it wasn't monotheistic,
Yeah.
right? I swear every monotheistic religion has like a power trip where they're always like no, this my god's the best god, right? I feel like those types of ideologies allow these types of massacres to occur.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they're just insecure people who want to be validated. You know.
Insecure ideologies.
Yeah, and they validate it by murdering others. It's
But
fucked, but it's the reality.
I think they just saw them as a threat, though. Like, they probably didn't know who it was. They're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is
I mean, they
this?
just wanted the land,
Yeah.
literally,
that's it.
right? And they
Or the
just
infrastructure that they probably built.
yeah, and what
I
they
mean,
did
why didn't
was,
Europe try to like?
I mean, they tried to conquer multiple fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, British.
They could have tried to take over the spice trade. I mean, the spice trade like in a full-on neck grasp, but they never did that.
I think the thing is that it was just too hard to maintain because places like Sri Lanka and India, they had a very good network, and it was
Okay,
it
yeah,
was
that's
working,
true.
right?
West was
Yeah.
West was unknown until that point.
Yeah,
right?
'cause-
Yeah.
I guess when they reached, they're like, okay, you know what? We're the first ones here. We got to make the biggest changes quick before someone else comes in.
Yeah.
Because that spice trade, the Spice Canal, whatever it was called, the Spice Canal, like, you know that whole system of waterworks they had,
Yeah.
that was established from like long time ago.
Yeah,
Like,
it's been
people-
around
And
even
the thing is, people
during
have
the
tried
Egyptian
taking
times.
that
Yeah.
over, and like people like you know, like Raja Sola and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Those guys, they like massacred whole cities just to keep that thing going
Wow.
because it made them so much money, like pure gold. They have like golden temples and cities made just because of that one thing, right?
Mhm.
So I don't think if they just like British pulled up and be like, hey, I want that, they'd be like,
Yeah.
all right,
It was
I'm
also-
gonna kill you guys.
I think it's probably because fur trade was never a
That too. Yeah.
Well, that was new, right? This is
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
too.
right. The second who were it was the French or the Italian.
Some Caucasian.
Yeah, some white motherfucker got on to Canada, saw a bunch of brown skinned people,
Yeah.
were just like monkeys, all of them.
It's fucked.
Gonna wipe them out, like.
I don't know, man, but like, you know, to conclude this whole topic,
Can I just ask one quick question?
of course
Do you guys think something like this will ever happen again?
It's already happening.
it is
In China,
happening.
It's already happening.
Yeah, that's the
There's
other.
probably other countries that it's taking place, but we don't know about it. Because,
Dude. Fuck, I think Sri Lanka is doing it right now.
I mean, they've been doing it.
They've been doing it.
I know they did it during the Civil War. Well,
Yeah.
No, they still have camps and they
They
still,
still
like,
have camps, yeah.
They're quoted as missing people.
Yeah.
But, like,
You know, like
they
from
say-
2000, and I think it was 9 or something.
Yeah, since
when,
then,
like-
and they're
Yeah.
still like detained. That's fucked.
Stuff like that, you know, places like, fuck,
China.
yeah, China.
Yeah.
Fuck, they're doing it on a platter and just showcasing it to the world and no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah, because no one can say anything about it.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
they have
They depend
everyone-
on China too much.
Yeah,
so.
they depend too much on it. But you know, to like conclude it, do you guys have any last messages?
God save us all. Even though I don't believe in a God, fuck man,
Yeah,
just
no,
come
that's
down.
probably the best.
Yeah,
way.
Come down and just shoot a laser at all the bad people.
What if it's not God? What if it's just like God?
Whoever's up there, man, just come down and set shit straight. Like I'm so tired
Yeah,
of
we need to
this
reach that
shit.
button.
But I think the two biggest improvements they can do is, you know, government step your shit up, start funding the right things instead of giving them casino and alcohol.
Yeah.
And you know, Catholic Church, own up to. You
I just-
motherfuckers.
they need to remove all the Native American people from those
From those,
high up
yeah.
areas, assimilate them in a way that doesn't destroy their society completely.
No more
Back into the
assimilating
modern world, their
Yeah.
culture can still exist. It's freaking them. Their
It's cold
culture
as
is
shit
lit.
there, man. It's cold as fuck
Okay.
up there. Give them some nice land that you can actually farm shit on.
Yeah.
You know, like not Nunavut, because that place is not a place. Nunavut's fake.
None of it's like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a simulation.
Yeah, it's.
I don't even. What?
Taking Nunavut was made a it's a province
A
when we were
territory in 1999.
like that's bullshit. You guys just made a province just to keep these Aboriginal people there. That's crazy, man. Like
Prince Edward Island.
oh yeah, PI.
No, no,
Newfoundland and Labrador.
no. That's the one you found.
Sorry, we're getting some mixed messages from
It was a territory of April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
Oh
No
yeah, it
way.
was, right? Yeah, yeah.
What
It
was
was
it
it became a
actually?
Latte territory
Yeah.
on April 1st, 1999.
They even memed it, bro. They didn't.
Oh,
take it
that's
seriously.
some bullshit.
That's
Okay.
bullshit. You guys
God
should be ashamed
damn.
of yourself.
Bro, that's a big neck. That's like a
That's-
huge neck.
yeah.
That's like you
I
get
don't
this
say
this
that, but-
territory, but April Fool's.
April Fool's.
Really, it's like an April Fool's, but
Damn,
It's
that's
like
the most
hey,
cynical joke.
I know
you could
they're like
ever
they go there
fucking
like,
do.
dude, we're gonna
That's
have a
tough.
whole new life farm,
Yeah.
you know, livestock. They go there, it's just a wasteland.
It's just fucking snow as
Polar
far
bears
as the eye
trying to
can
do shit
see.
there. It's fuck.
every day
Yeah.
is April 1st.
I respect them seal hunters making a living off
Seal hunters.
the Inuit seal
Oh,
hunters,
yeah.
not the mass producing, you know, minx coat. Those
Yeah.
ones. Y'all with your stupid brand name, fancy ass fur clothes can jump off a cliff. Okay. Brands are dumb. Okay. Anyway.
Anyhow, it's been nice, guys. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's
It's a
been
very
good.
serious topic.
Yeah.
And, you know, we try to crack some jokes here and there because, you know, it has to be fun for everyone. But overall, it's a very serious topic. And I think, you know, there has to be something better that the government and the people can do for. And I think the best thing right now the people can do is just talk about it.
I think one of the main things they need to do is completely reshift how they teach
Yeah.
history.
I mean, the education system is a shit storm
Yeah.
of its own. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, I have a history book of Canada right here. Ain't nothing about residential schools.
It's all
up
just
there.
maple
Yeah.
syrup. How they
Yeah.
do maple syrup.
It's crazy, but yeah. If you can, you know, if you want to learn about this stuff, information is out there.
Yeah. Wikipedia.
Don't fall down the information hole of no, this never happened. This is all government propaganda. Don't fall
And
down
it's
that
fucked
hole.
because people still think that. There are certain individuals who think that this is just like a fairy tale. It never happened.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, dude. They're finding bodies.
People are always gonna
Yeah,
think
it's like
something that they don't like is
Yeah.
gonna be a fairy tale. Fuck, there are
crazy.
flat earthers out there. I lost hope in humanity like 5 years ago.
All right. I guess we're
I think that's how we should end it.
That's another topic. Flat earthers.
All right.
Good job, boys.
Bye, everybody. See you next whatever day.